Back to sunny Stillwater, Oklahoma State and Pittsburgh, and some bad news for the Panthers, right, Paul Carcaterra?
Well, I hope you guys are nice and cool up in the booth. I'm not on the field, but for the Panthers, everyone in this stadium knows they want to run the ball. The question is, who is that wide receiver that could change the tempo and pace and press the perimeter? It will not be Dontez Ford, the senior, who averaged 19 yards a catch last year, separated his shoulder last week against Penn State, had surgery. They're hopeful he comes back for bowl season. Next man up, that's freshman Trey Tipton. He is super athletic. He was a long jumper in high school, a track and field guy. But Kelly, we talked about it. So much is on Nate Peterman and his decision-making today.
Yeah, and Peterman's going to have to be a master of progression and getting to the right guy. But the reason Ford averaged almost 20 yards a pop is because a guy named Tyler Boyd is playing for the Bengals on Sunday, right? They're still looking to fill that void of production. I don't know that they have that guy yet.
Well, now they have two Boyds, so we'll find out how run-heavy an already run-heavy team is when the Panthers get the ball. But Oklahoma State will have it first after Pitt won the toss and deferred. We are underway from Stillwater, Oklahoma. The Cowboy team on the rebound has Jeff Carr on the return, and he is hit with a flag down at the 18-yard line. We'll check the marker.
During the return, illegal block in the back. Number 80 on the receiving team. Half the distance to the goal. First down.
It's against Dylan Stoner, the freshman wide receiver, as Mason Rudolph, the junior quarterback, who the last 9 has been outstanding, but a little bit of a boggy third and fourth quarter last week.
Yeah, his decision-making was a little suspect, and the coaches simply said he needs to play better today. I think Mason Rudolph, in conjunction with James Washington, they need to show up in this game in a gigantic way.
His starting running back is Rennie Childs. Chris Carson has been dealing with a hand injury, the typical starter, and he is out on this first series. Rudolph to throw on first down, wants the long ball and has it. James Washington, a huge hit on the first play, and what a bounce back for the Cowboys. It's not a makeup for last week, but it's certainly a beautiful start.
It's the start, Jason, of getting a really bad taste out of your mouth as a player and as a team and really as a program. And the question was, can Rudolph find Washington, and can Pitt cover Washington? And so far, that hasn't happened.
Mason Rudolph, the leading returning quarterback in college football in yards per completion, hits from 91 away on the opening play from scrimmage, and Oklahoma State has the early lead at 7-0. Ben Grogan tacks on the extra point.
Jason, the thing that Pitt likes to do, Pat Narduzzi's defense attacks all the time. A lot of man-to-man on the line of scrimmage, get in your face, and right off the bat, Oklahoma State designs a way to get Washington deep against a corner, and it's like, can you cover me? And the answer on that play was absolutely not.
My goodness, Mike Gundy talking to him before this game, he said, look, we're trying to put it behind us. We're doing everything we can to put it behind us. And that's something you cannot talk about. You just have to go and do it, and they did it on the first play.
Yeah, that is a great step in the right direction, but you're right. Coaches are all about, you know, the 24-hour rule, win or lose. You put it behind you, and you wash it away, and you go on to the next prep week. This last week's loss was a really, really tough one to digest, but that's a good way to get on that road, is a ginormous play. But it's not only the play that's a big touchdown, but it's the way this team wins anyway. It's Rudolph to Washington in big explosive plays against anybody, including Pitt here today.
You said it in our keys to the game. Whoever controls tempo is probably going to win this thing. And Oklahoma State has a running team trailing off the jump, and a touchback gives Pitt the ball at the 25-yard line. And Nathan Peterman, the redshirt senior transfer from Tennessee, comes on. He's not asked to do a whole lot, Kelly.
Yeah, he manages a run game and takes advantage play action pass wise what the defense gives him. The 5 touchdowns, 1 interception, because that's what he's asked to do. And the title I like of him is someone called him the student of progression. He loves to get to the right guy, going through his reads, and that's what he's going to have to do a long time here this afternoon.
He leads an offense which beat Penn State by 3. A late interception sealed that game for the Panthers last week in a rivalry game renewed against the Nittany Lions. Offsides on the kick. Moves it up to the 30-yard line, and that's where Pitt will embark, with Peterman having James Conner behind him. The wonderful return story came back from Hodgkin's lymphoma and a great first 2 games. Peterman to throw down the field, and that is caught on the sideline by Quadri Henderson, his 8th catch of the year, and a first down into plus territory that goes for 22.
Well, Cart told us at the top that Dantes Ford isn't playing today, and Henderson needs to be that guy that steps into the void in that pass game. We're going to see Peterman do just that. Play action, get outside, change the launch point, and then he found Henderson on that play.
When you say change the launch point, what do you mean?
You're not going to be right behind the line of scrimmage. You're going to be on the move outside.
A lot of jet sweep action coming from Pittsburgh, and they go with it this time to the 45 and down to the 43-yard line. That's Jordan Whitehead into the game, the safety who they have 15 to 16 plays for in the playbook, and there's one of them.
Tremendous athlete. You have about 15 to 16 plays designed for him, and we asked Coach Narduzzi, actually you did, Jason, about, well, when is he going to play offense? And they said whenever they ask for it. They asked for him right off the bat on this first drive.
One of the co-ACC rookies of the year last year. The other one on this team as well, the running back Quadri Olison. Here's Conner darting through the defense. James Conner to the 15-yard line. There is a flag down on the play.
Offside. Defense, number 20. Penalties declined. Play results in a first down.
They decline the penalty against Burton. It's a 32-yard run for Conner.
We're seeing a little bit of what Pitt does in the run game. It's very complicated. There's a lot of moving parts before the snap, a lot of pre-snap administration, all designed to get the defensive players having their all eyes in the wrong place, giving up a gap, and they gave up a gap right there to James Conner.
From the 10. On the jet sweep again, down to the 1, and Quadri Henderson breaks down the door. Touchdown. You get the feeling 7's not going to win it today.
I don't think so. And I also get the feeling that Pitt feels very, very good up front on the line of scrimmage, matched up against what is a really athletic and fast Oklahoma State defense. Playing in this conference, the way they have to play defense because of the spread teams that they play, can they handle the physicality of Pitt? Right now, it doesn't look that good.
Chris blew it on for the extra point. We have yet to play 2 minutes from Stillwater, Oklahoma. 75 yards in 95 seconds. The Panthers cap it with a touchdown from the sophomore from Delaware, Henderson. A dandy so far, 7-7. Quadri Henderson in Pittsburgh with a wonderful response to an opening 91-yard pass play for Oklahoma State. And we are tied at 7 in Stillwater. Pittsburgh 2-0 after a win against Villanova and a win against Penn State. Oklahoma State with that very controversial loss from last week that should not have happened, but we're in play right now, and it's been a fun one so far.
Well, that's a great way to turn the page if you're Oklahoma State, at least offensively.
Jeff Carr and Chris Lacey back to receive for the Cowboys. They started deep in their own territory on the opening drive, and it didn't bother him. Carr takes the knee. Kelly, take us back to the touchdown.
Well, it was play action pass by Mason Rudolph in the backfield, and then the safety sees the play action pass right there, The outside receiver is going to run a post route. Instead, the safety jumps underneath on the shallow route and leaves Washington wide open. The corner was expecting safety help, didn't get it. It was like the parting of the Red Sea, and Washington was all along.
That was the second longest pass play in Oklahoma State history. The longest was back in 2008. It went for 95 yards against Iowa State. Jeremy Broadway caught it from Zach Robinson. The freshman Justice Hill, the very talented young man, gets the carry on first down and shows his speed to the outside. He cuts the corner. Hill tight-roping near midfield. Matt Galambos chucked him out, but there is the explosiveness of Justice Hill we heard about from his offensive coordinator, Mike Yursich. Oklahoma State loves to run tempo. Rudolph, play action, down the field again, and it is incomplete. James Washington against Avonte Maddox at second down.
Avonte Maddox had great coverage on the end. He was actually in the hip pocket. So what you do is you wait for the receiver to put his hands in position, and then you turn and slap the ball away. That's exactly how you do it if you're in that trail technique.
Second down for the junior Rudolph. Quick hit to this side, and Austin Hayes, who's into plus territory with a first down. His first grab, the redshirt senior out of San Antonio, as they pick on Maddox again.
That certainly seems to be a theme, picking on number 14, Maddox.
And a whistle off the play action to the jeers of the Stillwater folks.
And this is something, Jason, we saw last week against Central Michigan, is the pre-snap penalties slows a team down, obviously, that wants to go fast. And there's a good example of it. You have to execute better than that before the snap if you want to go up-tempo.
A team that wants to go fast and throw the ball. First two drives last week for Oklahoma State, 11 passes, 2 runs. This is first down and 15 from just short of midfield. And another flag and another false start. Another one against a wide receiver, this time Washington.
Well, Washington's trying to get a jump to get downfield again after that long touchdown. He can't wait to get after it, but another example of what stops tempo. Oklahoma State really wants to go fast after big plays. They've been slowed way down right here.
Back to first and 20. Quick set for Rudolph to the outside, and Jawan Seals, and he is driven back by an onslaught of Pittsburgh defenders, including the corner Ryan Lewis, who saved the game with a pick last week.
And Jason, we need to keep an eye on this because Rudolph was high about a half dozen times last week in critical situations. That was his second high throw to his receivers on that quick screen pass. You have to have great ball placement to give yards after the catch, and that's 2 times these receivers didn't have a chance to do anything with it.
Is that footwork?
I think it is footwork, and hopefully we can point that out as this game goes on.
Second down, 17. Another deep ball from Rudolph, and it is overthrown for Seals. He had a step on Ryan Lewis. It's 3rd and 17.
We've seen Seals on Lewis. We've seen Washington on Maddox, and the reason we're seeing those deep throws is because Pat Narduzzi plays what's called a press quarters coverage, pressing the outside receivers a lot of the times. The safeties are much tighter to the line of scrimmage than normal, and they force college quarterbacks to make low percentage throws, typically to the outside.
Oklahoma State 1 for 11 on 3rd down last week in the loss to Central Michigan. 3rd and 17 for Rudolph, who flares it to the sideline, and it is caught. Austin Hayes going out of bounds, has it up. It's 20 on a 3rd and 17, first down. Play action, Rudolph down the seam this time, and way too much air underneath it for McCleskey, with Reggie Mitchell tailing it.
And you said it exactly right, Jason. It was the right guy. It was the wrong throw. That ball needs to be driven in there to McCleskey. Middle open read, meaning there isn't a safety in the middle of the field. You have a post route by McCleskey. Drive the football in there. Too much air under that one.
Mason Rudolph, who split time last year with J.W. Walsh, has the job to himself this year for Oklahoma State, which dropped out of the polls after last week's loss. Fake the run, throw to Washington, and a big play threat. Tried to keep his feet. They blow it dead. Back at the 32-yard line, Washington signaled down on the 8th pass compared to 1 run. And a timeout called. Pittsburgh will step aside as well. 7-7 early fireworks from Stillwater.
ESPN College Football, brought to you by Heineken. Open your world. Enjoy responsibly. And Edward Jones, where attention and sound advice is a big deal.
Well, you know about the football and basketball, but 10-team national championships for the golf team for Oklahoma State. The last one 10 years ago. Ricky Fowler, Scott Verplank, Bob Tway among the famous alums. We were looking for a mini golf course before the game, but couldn't find one to play. Kelly loves the windmills. 3rd down. Oklahoma
I don't even know
State.
what to say about that.
We'll grab a club and let. Rudolph 3rd and 9. Rid of it. It's juggled and incomplete. Avonte Maddox, the pressure, and Kelly, they like to blitz from a lot of spots.
And that's the second time that the corner to the short side of the field has blitzed. Dane Jackson did it on that screen to Washington that was for no gain, and that time it was Maddox. And I don't think Rudolph saw either one of them. That was a walk-in touchdown if he can just find his receiver on that screen.
This kick is right at the edge of Ben Grogan's range. They have another kicker with a stronger leg they use outside of 51. That's Matt Amendola. Grogan from 49. No good. Trojan special teams might be big today. Oklahoma State, the first miss. We're tied at 7 in Stillwater.
I'm Matt Dan Burke back in our college football studios. This championship drive update brought to you by Dr. Pepper. First off, it's Alabama and Ole Miss. Took 1:53 seconds. That's Akeem Judd, a 23-yard touchdown run. And also Colorado and Michigan. This is Chidobe Alwuze as he hits Wilton Spate and Derek McCartney with a touchdown. Colorado's at 14-0. Jason, back to you.
How about that? The Buffs on the road.
That is an interesting one for sure. You know, Colorado nailed my team, Colorado State, early in the season opener and then looked good the following week. I didn't know how much of it was for real, but this is kind of the payoff year for McIntyre, and it looks like they're on the right track.
A lot of dangerous road teams today in college football. We'll see how it plays out as the day goes on. James Conner to the sideline, and down he goes. Couple of great running backs downstairs with Cart.
Man, tracking these guys down, no easy task. Tony Dorsett, Barry Sanders, 2 NFL Hall of Famers. I got to start with you, Tony, though. What are you doing in Oklahoma?
I don't know, man. I think I'm lost, man. But you know what I am? I'm a big fan of the University of Pittsburgh. So, you know, if they come this close to Dallas, Texas, I'm going to go find them.
That's good stuff. Barry, we'll start with you. In regards to Tony, I know you grew up an NFL fan and watching Tony Dorsett. What stood out in your mind with his game?
Well, I watched Tony at the University of Pittsburgh. They were on TV at tons. You know, I loved his style, the grace with which he ran, even power, speed, everything. I always tell him I stole a lot from watching him.
He took it to another level, man. I tell you, I watch him every time I see him. I said, man, when he was active, I said, man, it seemed to me, man, sooner or later the bottom is going to fall off. I've never seen a guy that this part of his body's over here, and the other part, the lower part to the left and over to the right, that's like, he has so many moves, he was so shifty, it's just unbelievable. Not only that, he has speed and power to go with it.
Complete back. You aren't too shabby either, and Pittsburgh has a great running back in James Conner, but Pat Norduzzi has things going on here. What excites you about him in this program right now?
Well, they're headed in the right direction. That's the most exciting thing about it, and I think they're bringing football players in here. They're bringing players that can play, that can make things happen, not just later on in their careers, but early in their careers, and I think that's an important thing, especially when you're trying to get back up to the upper echelon teams.
Barry, Oklahoma State, obviously a special place. You won a Heisman here. Your son, Barry, is playing right now as a running back. What's it like watching him play?
It's great. You know, he's in a place that he loves, that he's familiar with. Obviously, I played with Coach Mike Gundy, and so just for a lot of reasons, it's a very special place for me.
Who wins in a 40 right now? Tony Dorsett or Barry Sanders? Who wins in the 40?
I think he's more dressed appropriately, so I'm going to give it to Barry.
Well, he has on his cowboy boots. I have the advantage, I think.
Thank you so much, gentlemen. Thank you.
All right, man.
That's two of the top 10 running backs in NFL history in terms of yards, and great admiration for each other as Pittsburgh rams it down the field. Stearns and Richards required on the tackle of Conner, who's got 8 and a first down. Great hearing from those guys about watching each other, isn't it, Kel?
Oh, that was incredible. And I got to see both of them as well. And I mean, obviously the best, two of the best that have ever played that position. And both of them would really like playing in Pitt's offense right now.
By the way, we just set a record for most friends Kark has made in one day at 2. Congratulations,
yeah,
Kark.
That's 2 more than yesterday.
On first down, Pittsburgh keeps it on the ground one more time. James Conner, who just a couple of months ago, after his diagnosis, was going for chemotherapy and then coming back to the Pittsburgh facility with a surgical mask on to participate, and now totally in remission and healthy.
And really the workhorse of the run game. I mean, they have depth at that position, but he's the bell cow. There isn't any doubt about it. And on this drive, we've seen him, but we've also seen very good decision-making by Nate Peterman once again.
Pittsburgh, second timeout of the first half.
Timeout, Pittsburgh, second timeout for the Panthers today. Pittsburgh driving in a tie game at 7. Pittsburgh driving, trying to untie this game as Darren Hall checks in as the tailback, and the sophomores swallowed up. Ramon Richards playing run from the defensive back spot.
When you're playing a team like Pitt that has so much of the kind of eye candy movement before the snap, you have to get kind of caught up to speed. It's not unlike playing an option team. Sometimes you have to get acclimated to what you're seeing and what's coming at you, and Oklahoma State is trying to do that right now.
It's a 3rd down and 6. Pittsburgh 1 for 1 on 3rd down. Out of the backfield, Hall can't slip the tackle. Jordan Burton, the former JUCO safety and first-team All-Big 12 player, takes him down. So 4th down decision time for Pittsburgh, and the kicker, Chris Blewett, 0 for 3 this year. And Narduzzi going to go for the field goal from 48 yards away. It is good. First make for Blewett gives Pittsburgh the lead. First lead for the Panthers, 10-7. Our AT&T inside access from Stillwater, and they've got strobe lights galore at Oklahoma State. The run out for the Cowboys, full of electricity today.
Yeah, Kark and I were there on Thursday, or actually Friday. We had a workout and got to see amazing facility. We left you sleeping at the hotel, but next time we'll give you an early wake up. But amazing facility. They have it going on here in Stillwater currently.
You're saying I don't look like I could do like 100 reps of anything that you could do?
No, I'm just saying you got in late. I wanted you to get your beauty sleep a little bit.
Beauty would take a long time in terms of sleep over here. Touch back to the studio, Adnan.
All right, Jason, thank you very much. The Taco Bell studio update. That's Oregon and Nebraska. This is Tony Brooks, James here with the touchdown. So it's 2-point conference good as well. 8-0 for those Ducks over the Cornhuskers. Jason, over to you.
You know, Adnan, with his film background, he reviews movies.
I know that.
He should be doing taglines for all of these updates, don't you think?
He actually needs to be giving me some information because I know nothing about movies, and I know at some point in time you're going to go there.
To the movies?
Yeah, I mean, just ask me questions about things I don't know.
First down for Oklahoma State. The freshman Justice Hill with a big run earlier finds his way to the 29, and Avonte Maddox belts him after a gain of 5. Second down.
And we see Mason Rudolph wanting to go fast once again. This is their advantage, and it's how they mine those big plays.
Fakes one way, down the sideline the other, and incomplete. Washington on Maddox, and no marker down.
And really good coverage by Maddox. What was happening right there, it's a 3-by-1 set. You have a bubble screen to one side that was covered, and you have one-on-one over here, and Mason Rudolph went to this late, but it was tremendous coverage by Maddox.
You talked about the conflicting styles here. Oklahoma State with the tempo, Pittsburgh trudging down the field using the ground game. We've seen both already this afternoon. Rudolph 5 for 10 for $126 and a touchdown on the opening play. It's 3rd and 5. Down the sideline again, some hand fighting. It is a flag, and it is caught. Oh my goodness, James Washington again sparring with Maddox, gets the win.
Pass interference. Defense. Number 14. Penalties decline. First down.
Tremendous coverage once again, matched up. Maddox on Washington outside. Washington's in perfect position, but he doesn't finish on the ball as well as Washington does. Washington actually is a great finisher of the route at the top, and he beat Maddox at the very end right there.
Returning 1,000-yard receiver from last year, Washington. Rudolph wants to air it out again. Under pressure from the backside. He throws it incomplete in the end zone. Terrish Webb was the closest to it, looking for his second pick of the year.
And Webb was actually the safety on the far hash. And you talked about the air under that one. That has to be driven right over the top of the head of the man-to-man coverage guy on Washington, which was Maddox. And then safety Terrish Webb doesn't get over there to interfere with that throw.
You've said that a couple times now.
Too much air. Drive the football.
Second down, under 5 to play in the first. And Rennie Childs pinballed around. It's 3rd down coming up. How do you get Mason Rudolph to change that?
It's just a matter of really understanding. It isn't that he doesn't have the arm talent. He just has to know what the right flow is. And sometimes you have to drive it when you have a safety approaching from the opposite direction.
Looking to Washington's side. Rudolph deep again into the end zone, and it is incomplete.
And Jason, Rudolph is now under 50% on the day, and he's playing right into the hands of Pat Narduzzi's defensive scheme. Force college quarterbacks to throw low percentage throws, typically outside and wide. A lot of guys can't do that. A lot of receivers can't win bump and run on the line of scrimmage. Right now, Pitt's defensive style is overcoming the tempo and Rudolph wanting to throw the ball down the field for Oklahoma State.
Narduzzi bringing that over from Michigan State in his second season, as Grogan from 45 is 0 for 1 today, and this one is good. Grogan ties the game, and back and forth we go in Stillwater. Big 12 versus ACC today. And now it's time for our Aflac trivia question. Learn something today. Barry Sanders posted 3,250 all-purpose yards in 1988, the year he won the Heisman. Which player or players, Kelly, have ever had more all-purpose yards in 1 year? You have 3 seconds.
Oh, I have already gone through this with you, right? You had to give me so many clues, I was actually disqualified from answering with that.
The last clue was the guy's social security number. I mean, it was...
Went through his family. Yeah, we had to cover it, but
so
this
you're
is a good one.
He has a famous...
It could be a current player, right?
Yep, could be, hypothetically.
That's the first clue you gave me, actually.
First of many.
Has a younger brother that's a pretty good player.
And a father who...
And a father that was a pretty good player for a long time.
May or may not have worn orange over the course of his career.
He had played with someone named Elway.
Which Elway might that have been? We'll give you the answer after the kick if you've been living under a rock and don't have it already. Matt Amendola to kick it off. And through the back of the end zone. Here is your answer. It is Ed McCaffrey's son, Christian McCaffrey, 3,864 yards in 2016. You see the question. Barry Sanders, 3,250 all-purpose yards in 1988, the year he won the Heisman Trophy. Which players have had more all-purpose yards in a season? And there is your Aflac trivia question answer. And here's Christian McCaffrey doing what he did last year on the West Coast.
A rare combination of physicality, athleticism, able to get his own yards, able to make guys miss. Combination of speed and being able to be physical as well. That is rare.
4 and change to go, first quarter. And they'll run it again. This is Quadri Henderson. And don't forget, Saturday Night Football presented by Wells Fargo, 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific on ABC. Christian McCaffrey and the Stanford Cardinals, like we planned it that way, against the USC Trojans. Also streaming live on the ESPN app and Watch ESPN. Stanford went into the Coliseum last year and beat the Trojans. USC looking for revenge in Palo Alto. Peterman, another give to the 30 and nothing more. Whitener with the stop. James Conner loses 1. Third down.
And Whitener did a great job of kind of getting right in tight. There was a double team in front of him, pushing the defensive lineman out of the way, and he had to step into that gap, and he attacked it with commitment and ended up getting the running back on the ground.
Pittsburgh threw for just 91 last week in the win against Penn State. Peterman, third down. Down the sideline, it is caught. Jester Weah, the redshirt junior, at the sideline.
Ashton Lampkin was outside on the coverage and actually just blew it. He tried to collision Weah down the field and just didn't get a body on him. And so the big-bodied receiver at 6'3", 210 pounds just won the fight at the end. So many times, guys in tight coverage panic, and they don't play the ball well in the air, and that was a good look at it with Lampkin right there.
Gain of 25. Peterman perfect, 4 for 4. Trey Tipton, the redshirt freshman who Clark mentioned earlier, taking some of the snaps for the injury to Dontez Ford. And second down after a loss of 2.
Very complex run game. All the pre-snap movement. You're going to get some zone. You're going to get what's called a split zone, which simply means the H-back moves over across the formation and ends up giving the running back a lane to cut back if he wants to. And we've already seen the fly sweep motion. Very difficult to keep your eyes right if you're on the defense for Oklahoma State.
Conner in motion out of the backfield. Peterman on the run in front of the line and pushed out of bounds downstairs to Clark.
Well, before Pitt took the field, it's clear who the leaders on this offensive line are. It's Adam Bisnavati and Dorian Johnson, both seniors, both been in the trenches for a while, both projected as top 2 or 3 round NFL draft picks, but I spoke to James Conner this week. He said he loves running on the left side because these guys are so physical and tough. You can always get those extra yards when you're behind 69 and 53 in white.
They've been around for a long time, each in 30-plus career starts as seniors on the left side of that line. Peterman steps up in the pocket. He's hit, and down he goes. Cole Walterscheid, the sophomore, with his first sack of the year. It's a loss of 4 and punt time.
That's a coverage sack. Really good man-to-man on the back end for Oklahoma State. Peterman had a slant coming inside, very well covered. He had a receiver going into the flat, also very well covered, and by that time, the rush gets to him.
Second sack allowed by that offensive line in 3 games for Pittsburgh. Ryan Winslow to punt. That checks up inside the 10. Pitt's back there, and it rolls down to the 1.5 on the first punt of the game. Into the studio for Adnan.
All right, Jason, thank you. If you start plugging my movie podcast, we're going to have another situation. In the meantime, Colorado and Michigan special teams here is Michigan blocking the Colorado punt and Grant Perry capitalizing. So the Wolverines relying on special teams to make a game of it now after being down 14-0, 14-7. Jason, Kelly, back to you guys.
We will plug just about anything.
Oh, we will, no doubt. Very important situation, obviously, right here for Oklahoma State. Backed up inside your 1. I'm not sure Mason Rudolph knows how to take a snap from the center, although he's going up there right now.
And they're just going to burrow forward for a couple of yards down to the 3.
And I wasn't joking by saying that. A lot of the gun spread hurry up quarterbacks that are in college football today literally don't know how to go up to their center and take a snap the conventional way. Rudolph, I remember from having him last year, he actually has been taught how to do that, and we saw it on that previous play.
He's back in more comfortable terrain out of the shotgun with Hill next to him. Rudolph rushed, floats it to the sideline, and this pass is caught. Jawan Seals in front of the marker, first down. Under duress, Rudolph the connection.
And in the end, it was a very good throw and catch, but Rudolph did not see the Cowboy blitz off the short corner. He was fortunate that he got his head around just in time to deliver that football.
And we say farewell to quarter number 1. Big plays galore. James Washington, 91 yards on the big hit. On the first play, then Pittsburgh, the response. We're even at 10 from Stillwater. Edmund Lowe Library in Stillwater, we're tied at 10, and we've seen a lot of X-plays, explosive plays today, Cal.
Yeah, and Mason Rudolph had a chance for plenty more of them, and it's a matter of throwing the right ball, and we'll see an example of it right here. It's not only who you want to throw it to, it's how you want to get it to him. Right there, if he drives the football into Washington right over the shoulder, we're going to be good. The safety gets under the throw with too much air.
Freshman Justice Hill finds his way to the 16-yard line. Matt Galambos chopped him down, who had 19 tackles in the bowl game last year.
That play, Jason, was an example of what it means to throw your receiver open. If Washington is even, Washington is leaving. That's what quarterbacks are taught. So I need to lead the ball in and drive it in there and make him run and go get it before the safety can get over the top.
Second down for Rudolph. To the sideline, Chris Lacey. And there's a first down for Oklahoma State. Better zip there.
Yeah, and good adjustment, because remember, they've been throwing the fades over the top, and Pitt has been right in the hip pocket and covering those. So now they do the back shoulder because Pitt has been so good at covering the fade over the top.
On first down, Justice Hill is swallowed up. There's a flag down as well. Shane Roy was in on the tackle.
There's no flag on the play.
If only that would have happened last week in Stillwater.
Oh man, how they wanted to hear that.
But you were talking about the coverage from Pittsburgh. Mike Gundy told us yesterday, we've got to go deep at some points or else their safeties, their linebackers are going to be up there holding hands.
Yeah, you certainly have to try that. And Oklahoma State has been successful on one play, but they've been unsuccessful on a handful of those long passes since then.
Officially no gain. There's a lob, sideline for Lacey, who runs under it. The junior out of Powerhouse DeSoto, Texas, beat Ryan Lewis for a gain of 28.
That's where you want air under the football. The safety's in the middle of the field, and you literally fade your receiver, Lacey, to the sideline.
Sanders in, pump and go. Lacey again, had him beat, and it is a flag. Couple of flags, a lot of flags. It's on Lewis.
Pass interference. Defense, number 38, 15-yard penalty, automatic, first down.
Well, Jason, remember early in the game, it was Washington, the receiver, matched up on Maddox. Maddox started to win that matchup, and so now we're going to the opposite side. 38, Ryan Lewis matched up on Chris Lacey. Oklahoma State will do that. Where's the one-on-one? Where's my best matchup? And can my quarterback get the football there?
From the 29, Rudolph again, deep ball, it is caught, touchdown. James Washington with his second score today. Buck 64 for Washington through the air already. And the big play threats are out for Oklahoma State this afternoon. Extra point good for Grogan.
Dane Jackson is matched up one-on-one outside to Jawan Seals, and this offense for Oklahoma State is about this. Find the one-on-one and quarterback make the right throw. This is exactly how you do it if you're in Stillwater.
Adnan Verk back in our college football studios, updating you first on Colorado and Michigan. This is Seifu Lufau to Devin Ross, 7-yard score. Colorado's up by 14 after one quarter play. And Oregon and Nebraska, Tommy Armstrong and Jordan Westerkamp. So currently 8-7, Ducks have the lead. Jason?
Thank you, Adnan. Here we have a 17-10 ball game. We saw Nebraska last week trying to give Oregon some fits.
That's going to be an interesting game. I think if Tommy Armstrong plays well and plays clean, Nebraska has a chance to win that game today.
Another touchback for Amendola. We take a look at this week's AP College Football rankings brought to you by Chick-fil-A. Well, at the top of the top 25, a big defeat there for Florida State.
How impressive was Louisville? Are you kidding me? Lamar Jackson it was about, well, what defenses has he played? Well, he played what was said to be one of the best in the country today and just absolutely lit it up. And Michigan hasn't played anyone, and Colorado has experience. In college football, experience means something, and right now they're giving Michigan a fit.
It'll be interesting to see where Louisville jumps to after that blowout victory earlier on today on ABC. Peterman under pressure from Walterscheid and flips it incomplete. That's an incomplete pass. Let's see if there's grounding. There is.
Intentional grounding. Number 4, offense. Lost it down. Spot of the foul. Second down.
And there's that loss of down, which all the people in this stadium know now is intentional grounding brings with it a loss of down, right?
And there should be a play after that.
There should be a play now. We're going to get that one, but Peterman was going to get intentional grounding regardless. In the pocket, there wasn't a receiver in the area, and if he's out of the pocket, it has to go past the line of scrimmage, and none of those things happen.
Loss of down, by the way, means loss of chance to repeat the down.
There
That's
you go.
why we saw that situation with the rule last week that we showed you earlier on. 2nd down and 20. Connor, the tailback, bottled up and sent back. Downstairs, Carth, what do you have?
Star of the first half, James Washington. I've seen him make 2 ridiculous grabs. And Kelly, what stood out to me is he's high pointing the ball. His athleticism is off the charts. When I was in the weight room yesterday, I spoke to Rob Glass, the head strength and conditioning coordinator. He told me his versatility is what stands out. He's a kid from a small town, played so many sports growing up, was a basketball star, was also good in tennis. I want to see him play our producer, Brian Boyle, in tennis one day. I'm taking James Washington.
I think I'm taking Washington as well.
Always bet on Boyle. Straight up the middle they go. And Connor tackled by Kenneth Edison Magruder, giving some room to his punter, Ryan Winslow.
And back to what Clark had to say, I actually had the wrong guy on that last touchdown. I had Seals 81, and it was obviously Washington, but that's the reputation of Washington. He's very dynamic, but he also finishes plays well, and we've seen it here today. Makes great catches. He will go up and compete for the ball at its high point also.
James Conner, by the way, has been thrust into 5th all-time in Pitt rushing yards in a career, passing both Dion Lewis and LaShawn McCoy in this game. Return to the 40-yard line. A couple of flags are in as well.
During the return, illegal block in the back. Number 80 on the return team. 10-yard penalty. First down.
Week 2 Monday Night Football, by the way, coming up. Eagles have rookie quarterback Carson Wentz against Jake Cutler of the Bears at Soldier Field. 8:15 Eastern. Join Sean and John Gruden. Coverage begins with Monday Night Countdown at 6. Served by Applebee's, also streaming live.
How about Carson Wentz alma mater today, right?
How about it?
The Bison got after the Hawkeyes, right? Did I hear that correctly?
You did.
That is amazing. What a win on the road for the Bison.
What a dangerous team to play, too.
Hey, winning translates anywhere, and that program wins.
Rennie Childs is absolutely lambasted by Matt Galambos, the senior, for Pitt.
Oklahoma State is not all that interesting in running the football. They're not really committed to be honest with you. They kind of send a test case up into the middle once in a while, but it's about explosive big plays down the field.
Something of a leaky trial balloon. Just
Exactly.
1.9 yards per carry last week in the loss to Central Michigan, as that one's airmailed for Seals. And a 3rd down and long coming up. 18 passes, 7 runs for a team that says it wants to be 60-40.
Yeah, they're not 60-40, and I don't think they even actually want to be. But once again, right there, a high ball. We see Mason Rudolph's feet coming into play once again.
3rd down 10, couple of minutes into quarter number 2. Rudolph gets his feet set. Washington runs under it. What a day for James Washington, and there's still a lot left. He beat Maddox downfield on a hit of 50.
Pat Narduzzi told us his scheme defensively at Michigan State as well, clear back to Cincinnati, is about high risk, high reward. Right now, Oklahoma State's getting after him.
Rudolph again, time to throw. He hits Seals one more time for a couple of yards. Ryan Lewis collapsed on him.
Matched up one-on-one outside with one of the most dynamic receivers in college football. And sometimes you win it, sometimes you don't. And Washington's winning his fair share right now.
10th in the nation in yards per catch last year, as Seals gets one more thrown his way. Washington now 214 on the day.
And the scheme Narduzzi has defensively is about betting that the college football quarterback can't consistently make those throws. Oklahoma State's doing it right now.
Justice Hill sneaks his way through into the red zone. First down for the freshman from Tulsa's Booker T. Washington High School.
We're not going to see 60-40, but we just need to see a good run every once in a while out of this Oklahoma State offense.
Who says justice is blind? That was great vision From the freshman tailback down the seam, and it's incomplete. There was contact in the end zone, and here comes the marker. Felipe Motley, the redshirt sophomore, with the hit.
Pass interference, defense, number 32, 15-yard penalty, automatic, first down.
And Jason, it's just more of the same. It's Rudolph's #1 responsibility in this offense is to diagnose where my one-on-one matchup is coming from. And that time it was Seals running a post route down the middle on Motley, and Motley just got on his back a little early.
Mason Rudolph said he wanted to be more effective in the red zone this week. He starts this trip inside the 5, down to the 1. Rennie Childs tackled by Whitehead, the sophomore.
This is where you have to be able to finish by running the football.
Childs stays in. He gets it again. Rennie Childs scores. Touchdown, Oklahoma State. Seventh career touchdown for Childs. It's a 2-score game.
Childs is not flashy, Jason, but he's dependable, and he's in there deep in the red zone for that reason. Ball security, he gets the most out of the run, and in this case, he finishes in the end zone.
Grogan on for the extra point, as Oklahoma State has run up 340 yards already today in about 20 minutes of football. (24-10), the Cowboys trying to get the taste out of their mouth from last week. Long pass downfield, Rudolph to set it up, and then Rennie Childs on the ground for the score.
ESPN College Football, brought to you by Dr. Pepper. It's a college football tradition. And AT&T, mobilizing your world.
A lot of great players have come through Stillwater. Barry Sanders, the Heisman in 1988. Thurman Thomas, Des Bryant, Neil Armstrong. Buddy Ryan went here when it was Oklahoma A&M. And 12 seasons for Mike Gundy and the Oklahoma State Cowboys. He's been to 10 straight bowl games, a school best. Trying to get back there this year after a tough loss last week that he feels should not have happened. And we talked about it early. There's a little bit of culpability on that sideline as well.
Yeah, you're right. They should have known the rule. I mean, it's their job to know that. It was an obscure set of circumstances, but nonetheless, they should have known the rule.
Quadri Henderson sets up at the 2. And Henderson finds no room. Another big play for Oklahoma State, Cal.
Yeah, Rudolph is finding Washington. There's a rhyme and reason to running the fade route from the outside position. You're going to get on top of the defender as Washington does on Maddox. Give yourself some room to be faded to the sideline if your quarterback needs to do that. And right here, Rudolph just drops it into the front pocket of Washington. How is Pitt going to cover that guy man-to-man today? 303 yards passing. Does Rudolph have? 214 has gone to Washington.
That's a career high.
Illegal substitution, defense, 12 men in the formation, 5-yard penalty, first down.
So 1st and 5 coming up. Back to the situation from last week for a moment, Kel. Is it a surprise to you that college football teams, with all of the coaches they employ, don't have a dedicated rules person on the sideline?
Yeah, it is a surprise. I think the NFL does that a lot. Someone that's dedicated to knowing the ins and outs of the rules that can actually buzz you from the top in the booth and say, hey, they got this wrong. That's a great idea.
Down the field they go. James Conner to the 50-yard line and all the way into Oklahoma State territory. Jordan Stearns finally took him down. My goodness, another huge play.
I don't even think this ball was intended for Connor. I think Henderson was running a deep over route, basically a crossing route, but much deeper. I think that ball was going beyond Connor and going to Henderson, but nonetheless, Connor makes a great catch and a huge play that Pitt right now in this game needed, Jason.
So Connor gets a breather. Pitt not built to come back from 14 down. Darren Hall gets the carry in with a burst down to the 16-yard line. Trey Flowers knocked him down. It's second down coming up.
That's a great point about the style of play with Pitt. Oklahoma State plays fast and counts on the explosive plays, so they have a chance to come back if they get down, and Pitt isn't built that way. So this touchdown means a great deal to get within one score, potentially going into halftime.
Run it again. Darren Hall is driven back. The third down coming up.
Red zone is the money zone, and third down's the money down when you get down there. And this is where Nate Peterman needs to show up. Obviously, 3rd and 3, 3rd and 2 actually, just inside of 3 yards. The run game is on the table as well. And the way Oklahoma State is playing, Jason, this might be 2-down territory for Pitt anyway.
Out of the gun, Peterman. Connor's a choice. Peterman takes it himself and gets very close to the marker. Justin Phillips with his second straight tackle, and we'll check the spot. It is a first down.
Nate Peterman typically makes sound decisions, and that's a really good one in the run game. Not only getting in the right play, but it's a speed option. He's going to come right into the camera, and he knows what he needs for a first down. He keeps it and converts.
Pitt still can get a first down at the 3-yard line. Connor again runs right into the defensive lineman, Billy Leveni, the redshirt junior, and a marker comes in as well.
Offside. Defense. Number 89. 5-yard penalty. Repeat first down.
So Weber, the offside penalty. Busy night in the SEC coming up. This ACC versus Big 12 as conference play starts in earnest very shortly. Connor on the run, has a seam and gets tripped up down to the 3. Vincent Taylor grabbed him. And there's the run game for Pittsburgh, which piled up 311 yards last week in the win against Penn State.
And a lot of softness right now on that line of scrimmage. Taylor comes off late and gets to Connor, but the thing that I was impressed with in watching this Pitt team from last week against Penn State is they are very efficient at getting a hat on a hat at level 1 and then coming off those double teams and getting to level 2. Very good play at the line of scrimmage.
First down, 1st and goal for Pittsburgh. How do you best counter this run game if you're Oklahoma State?
I think Oklahoma State, has to be happy with their matchups outside playing man-to-man. So I believe that Glenn Spencer is already committing more bodies to the line of scrimmage to try to stop this run game. It seemed like they were getting acclimated a little bit to the run game, was Oklahoma State defensively, but here goes Pitt again.
James Conner again has maybe a yard. Jordan Burton, the tackles leader on the team, with a stop.
That's what Oklahoma State has to do defensively, Jason. It's about being moving targets, slicing and dicing. Your tackles, Miley and Taylor, have to hold the fort. But you're athletic and fast in the back end. Those guys need to start slashing and making plays at the line of scrimmage.
Second down and goal, more motion, the big set in for Pittsburgh. One more time, Connor to the goal line and down just short. by about a half a yard. It's 3rd and goal.
Obviously, Pitt wants to get in the end zone here, but I guarantee you that they don't mind running the clock a little bit and giving Mason Rudolph and James Washington less time to do something with it when they get it back.
We'll see if the second leading touchdown maker behind Tony Dorsett in Pitt history can get in. James Conner's the back on 3rd and goal. It's Peterman instead trying to lean, and he was stopped. The ball loose, and let's see what the call is. The near side official said down at the 1.
Yeah, it looks like to me that Peterman is down, and then he reaches for the goal line after he is already down. I think his entire left side really is down. Chad Whitener got good penetration, the linebacker number 45.
So they will stop play to look at it.
Yeah, I think this call is going to be confirmed. Nate Peterman doing a great job of trying to reach across, but not only was he already down, but that ball didn't come loose until it struck the ground.
What do you think about the call there with Conner, your tailback, going with the quarterback instead?
Who they are is getting pushed on the line of scrimmage. Remember, Clark talked about those two big offensive linemen, Isnavati and Johnson to the left side. That's where I would want my quarterback to go if I'm going to run it in that situation. Get a little bit of push. I don't mind the call, but I would have liked Peterman to sneak out to the left side a little bit. He tried. There was good penetration initially by Oklahoma State, and then he kind of leaks off to the right. I would tie it to him again. I would give it to a running back. I would get big, if you will, with a fullback and a move tight end. And I would count on my offensive line. I think the offensive line for this team is the best part of what Pitt does.
That is, if they do get the ball here, the Panthers. We're checking on the review. Possible fumble, although the signal was down at the 1 yard line for Peterman.
I think this is an easy confirmation for the instant replay booth. I think Peterman was down, and then the ball didn't come loose until he struck the ground with that arm carrying the football.
We were talking about the play from last week. Worth mentioning, too, that both the on-field officiating crew and the crew that was the replay officials each suspended for 2 games after that loss that was not supposed to be for Oklahoma State a week ago here.
And rightly so. I think they certainly made an egregious mistake that cost Mike Gundy's team dearly. But people make mistakes, right? It's time to turn the page and move on. And those same officials have done really good things.
Ruling on the field is confirmed. 4th down.
Now you got it, Kel. 4th down. You think go for it instead of the field goal?
I think the way Oklahoma State is playing offensively, you're going to need some points. 3 doesn't really cut it right here. I think Pitt hooks the wagon to the best part of this team, and it's the offensive line of scrimmage.
40 touchdown man career, James Conner in back. Conner the run. Conner lifted up, and Conner is in. Touchdown. Very close. Conner gets it across.
Well, certainly welcome to another review. I think James Conner does a great job.
Ball carrier broke the plane of the goal line. Touchdown.
I think as Conner is coming down, I think he extends the ball right at the very end. And keep this in mind if you're watching at home. It's the very front of the goal line. It's the penetration of the very front of that white line. And
further review.
The question I have, Jason, looking at that, was any part of his body down? His elbow may have been.
I would argue left elbow down before ball over. However, we need to have indisputable video evidence to overturn the call on the field. The starting point is the call on the field, and that is touchdown. We have a replay review in Stillwater. If you just joined us, a fan base that would rather have continuous play.
That's what I was just going to say, no doubt. And they would certainly like some of these reviews to go in their favor, and we talked about that from last week.
That said, the officials want to get it all right.
No doubt.
There are jokes and all of that galore, but the officials want to get it right. They didn't last week. There's been action on that. And you move on to this week, and a very close play in the second quarter this afternoon.
And an amazing percentage, the officials do get it exactly right in real time without ever going back and looking at what we're looking at until they have to.
It looked like the left elbow was the first thing down for Connor, and the question is, where was the ball at that moment? Will that 6 stay, or will Oklahoma State get the ball back up 14? This is a large play in this game, especially for a Pitt team that's not well constructed to come back from multiple scores down. Pittsburgh just on the outside of the AP poll after the win against Penn State. Largest crowd in Pitt football history last week.
It certainly is an important time. Don't you get the feel that Oklahoma State has a lot of answers offensively right now?
Oh yeah, the big plays continue to pour out for the Cowboys. I mean, James Washington, the star wide receiver, 5 catches, 214, and 2 touchdowns. What do you think, Cal? Touchdown or no?
I think it stands. I think you're right. I think it's always important how it's called on the field, and without the indisputable video evidence, you let it stand.
ACC crew, Gary Patterson with the call.
After review, ruling on the field stands. Touchdown.
Now, stands means no indisputable video evidence to overturn, and a sea of jeers, but James Conner is in with a touchdown, number 41.
Very important time for Pitt in this game. They needed that to get in the end zone. 3 doesn't really help them.
They're not going to be holding officials clinics in Stillwater. As the extra point is good. Close call. No indisputable video evidence to overturn. Connor started the drive with a big catch, and he ends it with a touchdown run. Saturday Night Football presented by Wells Fargo, 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific. It's on ABC, and it's in the Pac-12. USC and the superstar Christian McCaffrey, USC and Stanford, getting together tonight. Also streaming live on the ESPN app and watch ESPN. So, 24-17, close touchdown. Stands. Connor is in. And Oklahoma State will set up shop at the 25. We check in with Adnan.
All right, Jason, let's go over to the big house and see what's going on here for the Michigan Wolverines. Down by 14, but how about J.U. Chesson? They'll put Michigan back in this one, so 21-14 now in Ann Arbor. Just about 7.5 left to go in the first half of play. Jason?
Good games all weekend in college football, and how about what Louisville did earlier, shaking up the rankings and coming out of the chute looking like the better team.
Yeah, there wasn't any doubt from kickoff to ending. I mean, that was an amazing performance by Louisville.
303 in the air already for the junior Mason Rudolph, who had a rough game last week. They go reverse. James Washington is taken down. Nice pursuit by Rory Blair, the Pittsburgh defensive lineman, who has some hearing trouble. He had a stroke 4 years ago. They have to help him out a little bit with the calls. He's got a hearing aid on the field, but he stayed on the field and had a very nice season so far. It's a loss of 3, 2nd and 13 for Rudolph. To the sideline, and McCleskey. We haven't heard a lot from Jalen McCleskey, but we have heard from Paul Carcaterra.
Well, moments ago, Pat Narduzzi ran over the D-line telling them pressure, pressure, pressure. Don't be predictable. He's seen a lot of bull rushes. He wants to see speed rushes, spins, and them to mix it up. This D's predicated on pressure, and there has not been enough.
One-on-one to the outside. Rennie Childs breaks free. Childs showing the speed. Rennie Childs down the sideline and in. "67 yards.
The reputation of Rennie Childs is steady but not flashy. He had some shimmy and shake and actually made Ryan Lewis miss out on the edge, and then the speed to take it the distance. That's a big back, and he rumbled down the sideline. Missed tackles will kill you regardless of where they take place.
Second touchdown for Childs. Brogan for the extra point. A volcanic first half for Oklahoma State. It was a hat on a hat. Rennie Childs on the outside with Ryan Lewis. Childs got the better of him, and it was all green in front. Rennie Childs with his second score, and Oklahoma State reclaims a 2-score lead. He's got to make the flora and fauna look pretty here at Oklahoma State. It's a nice job. The Cowboys leading by 14. They've got 415 yards total, and we have not seen halftime yet, Kelly Stauffer.
How do you like that run game from Oklahoma State? Rennie Childs just made it look better. 67 yards to pay dirt. That'll work well.
A run game that was 116th in the nation coming in.
And only 2 behind right now. Pitt rushing the football, 104 to 106. Who would have thought that?
Henderson, the very versatile returner, doesn't get another chance as Amendola pushes him back into the end zone.
All right, Jason, coming up in the Lexus halftime report, what in the world happened to Florida State? We'll try to dissect that, and for all those Louisville fans who are still celebrating. Also, an SEC showdown right now as Ole Miss is trying to beat a Nick Saban coach team for the 3rd straight time and looking pretty good so far in the first half. Plus, the Bison do it again. North Dakota State showing why they should be feared when it comes to all types of football. That's coming up at the half. Jason, back to you.
And thank you. Pittsburgh trying to respond. Peterman coming this way, and it's incomplete. He wanted the sideline. It's second down coming up. Pittsburgh forced into an early pass on the drive. 32 out of 34 plays on first down last week were runs.
And when you're down 31 to 17, and you've seen the explosiveness out of Oklahoma State, you have a sense that Pitt may kind of come out of the game plan a little bit contrary to their normal MO, and it may be a little bit too early to do that, but this is a nice drive to answer right here with just about 4 minutes left.
Peterman flushed out. Up the middle he goes. Peterman the first down, and then some off the spin to the 45, and he is drilled by Chad Whitener, the middle linebacker. It's a rush of 21 for Peterman.
Great decisions from the quarterback position come in a lot of different flavors, and that's a great one. Went through a progression, no one there. Get what you can up the middle.
Peterman, and that is knocked back at him. Whitener, tipped ball, incomplete.
Whitener plays the middle and does a nice job of getting out to the edge in the throwing lane because he was simply looking at Peterman, trying to get the ball in behind him on a little rub route inside, and Whitener blows it up.
Pittsburgh has become one-dimensional on this drive with 3.5 to go in the half. Another tip pass and incomplete. Pressure came. Jordan Burton, who Glenn Spencer, the defensive coordinator, thinks is a surefire NFL probably safety.
And Burton fires off the wide side of the field on a blitz and is right in the throwing lane. And it was well timed. Peterman didn't have a lot of choice with that because the blitzer timed it well. You can't make any adjustments, and oh, by the way, he's in my throwing lane.
Third down 10. Peterman. Rush picked up. Peterman can't get it there. Incomplete. Darius Curry got a hand in, and it is fourth down intended for Weah.
Weah runs basically a curl route, just basically a stop route at first down depth. The ball was just a hair late. It gave the defensive back time to break on it. At the end of the day, I thought that was a ball that Weah should have actually caught.
Rare punt today. Barry Chase Sanders with his father in attendance back to receive. Sanders keeps his feet. Sanders across the 20, and that's where Oklahoma State sets up. Kick off your Week 2 NFL Sunday on ESPN. 10 a.m. Eastern, NFL Insider Sunday edition. Injury news, fantasy updates. Then at 11, the new Sunday NFL Countdown group. Berman, Dilfer, Woodson, Hasselbeck, and Moss right up to kickoff. Both shows also streaming live on the ESPN app and watch ESPN.
Pretty good lineup. Jay, at the top of the show, we talked about whose style is going to win out because they're definitely contrasting styles. Oklahoma State, 415 yards, time of possession less than 10 minutes, but they have 31 points on the board, over 12 yards a pop. And so their style is certainly what we're seeing win out thus far.
An offense that had a couple great drives early in the game last week, then hit a wall against Central Michigan, and quarterback Cooper Rush in the second half as Justice Hill clangs around for about a yard. Second down coming up. Loss of one officially.
And a lot of time left. The MO is to go fast anyway if you're Oklahoma State.
Rudolph pressured by Price, gets it out to Lacey, and it's across the 30 and a first down for Oklahoma State. Out of bounds. 2:52. A lot of time for the Cowboys.
This is the adjustment. Right now you're getting softer coverage from Pitt. Oklahoma State is going to have to complete balls in front of them.
As Rudolph does there for Washington, once again teeing off on Avonte Maddox. First down just short of midfield, and James Washington's having a career in one day. He's over 230 yards. Downfield again, and it is incomplete. He wanted McCleskey. Jordan Whitehead and Ryan Lewis converge. By the way, Mason Rudolph, 338 passing yards, a one-half record for Oklahoma State.
And this ball is another one that needed to be driven in there, and it needed to come out much more quickly. McCaskey was open on a skinny post right inside the hash, and if Rudolph just simply throws a laser in there, he splits the safeties, and their coverage would not have mattered. Way too late, way too much air on that ball.
Rudolph off the back pedal to the sideline, enough on it to get it to Seals, and Jawan Seals has a first down, working off Lewis that time.
You see the adjustment, softer coverage by the corners. Oklahoma State is breaking off stop routes and out routes in front of them, and Rudolph is throwing the ball accurately. That's the adjustment defensively. It necessitates adjustment offensively, and right now Oklahoma State is being patient in that pass game.
A guy, Mason Rudolph, who the coaches said didn't feel sorry for himself for very long at all after that loss last week. As that ball's on the ground, Rudolph couldn't hang on to it, and the scrum is on at the 40-yard line. Let's see who comes up with it. It is Pittsburgh football. Shane Roy for the Panthers.
I think this is all on Rudolph, the quarterback. I don't think he had the ball cleanly when he went to hand it off. It looked like a bar of soap before he even got to his running back. Yeah, that's not on the running back, as you guys could see at home that was about Rudolph just simply taking his eye off the ball when he went to seed it into the belly of the running back.
7th forced turnover for Pittsburgh, which came in 6th nationally in forced turnovers through 2 weeks to this game. So 156 for Peterman in the offense. A transfer from Tennessee out of the city of Jacksonville in Florida, Nate Peterman from the 40. Down the middle of the field, he's got a dart for Weah, and he shakes a tackler. Chester Weah is in for the touchdown. That's a 60-yard strike for Chester Weah, and back and forth we go.
All about the matchup. Weah is running a post outside on a safety, Trey Flowers. A quick receiver busts inside, and actually that's on number 7, Richard. So I think that's a matchup that Oklahoma State should feel comfortable with, but not very good coverage by Richards on that play.
Suddenly, yet again, we have a one-score game. 55 points on the board, yet to halftime. Roy, the fumble recovery, and Pittsburgh the response rapidly. Chester Weah with his second score. It's a lead of 7 for Oak State. Celebrating its 12th year, sponsoring the Good Hands Field Goal Nets, Allstate makes contributions to participating universities' general scholarship funds for each field goal and extra point kick. To date, Allstate has contributed millions of dollars in scholarship funds. Great program, and I'll tell you what, there are going to be some dollars filtering in from our waterfall point game in Stillwater today, Kelly Stauffer. It is a lucrative one.
I still have to wonder if Pitt can keep up. Peterman made a great throw to Weah on that play. But how often are they able to do this?
Oklahoma State, plenty of time. Just under 2 minutes as Carr decides to take a knee and give it to Rudolph at the 25.
Actually, a pretty easy read by Peterman. He has Weah outside, matched up on Richards. No safety in the middle of the field. You can see the safety actually turns his head from the receiver, and it makes a very big window. Very well executed, and Peterman just simply has to stare down the safety, make him pick a lane, and in this case, he leaves Weah open to the post. But he threw a BB in there. That was a great throw, great design of the route.
Nathan Peterman, who won the job from Chad Wojcik last year as the transfer, has his team back within 7 as Barry J. Sanders is back in as the running back. Rudolph fakes to him. Rudolph down the middle. McCleskey with a strike across the 35, first down. Jordan Whitehead bucked him down. This is comfort zone for Oklahoma State. And Sanders tripped up behind the line. Juan Price, the pass rusher, gets in on run support. Surprised that they ran there.
I'm not surprised that they ran, but does Oklahoma State not have all 3 of their timeouts left?
Indeed they do.
I'm not sure about the clock management right here. You like to go fast, but you don't seem interested in going fast right now. That's puzzling.
Second down, 15 for Rudolph. Blitz coming. He gives ground to the sideline again. The short route is caught. Chris Lacey to the edge and out of bounds, freezing the clock at exactly 1 minute, third down.
And the standard rule of thumb is if I have 3, I use one on plays like that. If I have 2, I wait for it to get under a minute. Bad clock management, in my opinion, here.
Rudolph down the middle once again, and that pops free. Let's see what the call is. This is a live ball. Washington put it on the deck. Avonte Maddox across the 30-yard line. We will see if it stands as a completion and a fumble.
Ruling on the field is catch and fumble recovered by the defense. First down, Pittsburgh. Timeout, injured player.
It's going to be interesting to see if the ball was actually loose before we could see it. Washington is going down with it, and I believe the officials might have got this right on the field. That ball seemed dislodged, and then it was revealed to be dislodged late. But I think the ball was on its way out. The question is going to be whether it was a catch at all. Jason, did Washington possess the football? Did he catch the ball and make a move common with the game, I believe is the terminology?
You're looking for a move common to the game. That's going to be tough to overturn, Cal.
I think that's right. You know, if he would have taken another step before that ball comes out, Maddox dislodges it. But it's another one of those things that's typically so critical of how it was called on the field to begin with. Called a catch and ruled a fumble.
We're looking for control and a move common to the game.
Possessing it and going down obviously is common to the game. Possessing it and taking 2 steps is common to the game, demonstrating possession in some form.
.47 seconds left in an entertaining first half.
Well, in the meantime, if you're Oklahoma State, you want to keep a team around, this is how you do it. You spit the bit 2 times in a row if this stands.
You know, you wonder if he ever really had control of that ball.
Well, if you and I are debating it this long, typically it means it's going to stand on the field the way it was called.
Ruling on the field is incomplete pass.
Yeah.
And 4th down, 43-yard line, 56 seconds on the clock.
You know, he
56 seconds.
He made the move common to the game, but did he have control of the ball? And he did not.
Yeah, at the end of this play, I think the officials got it right. Take your time in the replay process to get it right, and I think you're right on that, Jason. I don't think he actually possessed the ball. He didn't get a foot down, you know, that would have been a move common to the game. So in the end, Oklahoma State is fortunate enough to be given this ball back by punting it.
So Quadri Henderson will have an opportunity. The very dangerous returner, and it's blocked. This is a blocked punt by Pittsburgh, out of bounds at the 40-yard line. George Aston, who had 2 touchdowns last week out of nowhere, comes up with a huge special teams play.
The human battering ram. It's exactly what he does. He just comes up the middle, literally right beside the center. He pierces the wedge, and he gets his hand on it. That's just an effort play. There isn't even a design block there other than telling George Aston at 6 foot, 245 pounds to sick him, and he did.
So Peterman back to the controls. On the roll. Peterman flings it up and out of bounds. So Pitt, which led the ACC with 5 blocked kicks last year, gets 1 here in a huge spot. 41 seconds to go in the half.
Well, if you're Pitt and your ID offensively is much more run than pass, to keep up with a thoroughbred like Oklahoma State today, a way to find some of those plays is in special teams. And that was one of them that we saw just a couple of plays ago.
Peterman, quick set. His receiver fell. It was Weah, and it's 3rd down. Chester Weah, who just had a touchdown for Pittsburgh, couldn't stay upright out of his break. So 55 points on the board. Pittsburgh 1 timeout remaining in the half. Trying to stay unbeaten after a huge win against Penn State last week at Heinz Field.
3rd and 10 right here. Defensive coordinator Clint Spencer may elect to come after Peterman. Right now it looks like he's actually going to play coverage.
A senior-laden offensive line on the left holds up as Peterman hits Connor, and he does not have enough room. He's taken down at the 45 by Chad Whitener, the middle linebacker. And it looks as though Oklahoma State is just going to go into the locker room. Timeout.
Good 3rd down defense right there for Oklahoma State. 3rd and 10. Their MO, if you're Pitt offensively, isn't to pass it. Rush 3, defend with 8, break on the ball, and force a 4th down situation here.
Coming up Monday, week 2, Monday Night Football, the Eagles and rookie quarterback Carson Wentz. Jay Cutler and the Bears after a loss to the Texans. 8:15 Eastern on ESPN. Coverage starts Monday Night Countdown, served by Applebee's at 6, also streaming live on Watch ESPN. Kel, why don't you call that timeout right as the play ends?
Very interesting. I'm not quite sure why that was called, to be honest with you.
Well, Pistol Pete's not happy about it. He's out there with his big hat. Shot off the gun. Downstairs, Cart.
Yeah, well, Jason, I've been down here field level. Mike Gundy was trying to get a timeout earlier, running up and down the sidelines, and probably 3-4 seconds lost.
And you want to force a punt, Clark, right? So you have a chance to block it or return it if you're Oklahoma State. But this punt should go way out of bounds and not even give Oklahoma State a chance to return it.
McCleskey watches it bounce and check up. And Oklahoma State will have the ball with under 20 seconds to go as Jamar Parrish touched up on it. Well, Mason Rudolph, after a rough second half last week, a week when his offensive coordinator Mike Yurcich said, I don't know if maybe I put too much on his plate last week. Well,
it doesn't look like that today, does it?
He's got enough on his plate. It looks like today. Mason Rudolph in the passing offensive run for 370, pass for 372 so far today.
20 of 30, and some really good decisions in there as well. A lot of his decision making is about finding the one-on-one and making the right throw, and at times he's been incredibly good at doing that today.
He will take a knee to close out the half. It's such an explosive offense with 18 seconds. The crowd's jeering a little bit that they didn't go deep. 774 combined yards, 55 points. Halftime score 31-24. To Adnan, Joey, and Danny in studio, all the latest with the Lexus halftime report. Explosive first half in Stillwater, Oklahoma on a beautiful day. 31-24, your halftime score. Thanks for joining us. Jason Benetti, former NFL quarterback Kelly Stauffer. Kel, we talked about in the open. Oklahoma State has to put last week behind them, have they?
Very important, and I think they have 31 points in that first half, and I think the defense was getting a better feel also.
How about Pittsburgh, though? The run game was, again, fantastic first half.
Their run game is who they are. It's their identity. James Conner is going to be the bell cow carrying the football, and they had very good success. They're going to relocate guys, get more guys to the point of attack, and their big plays can come out of their run game as well. And if you're Oklahoma State, it's all about Rudolph to number 28 going vertically. This is how the game started, with number 28 catching a big one, and he absolutely lit it up in the first half. The question I have, Jason, what are the adjustments that need to be done in coverage against that guy Washington in the second half?
School records already on the board in one half for Washington and Rudolph. What do you do to stop those guys?
We saw a little bit of it in the adjustment in the second quarter, late in the second quarter by Pitt. They were getting softer coverage and playing what's called a catch technique, and that's what we saw. And so Rudolph is going to have to make better decisions because there aren't going to be a lot of open guys running vertically down the field.
Well, Pittsburgh, coming out of the half, gets the football as James Washington 1,000-yard receiver returning from last year has had already a season's worth for some people in the first half from Boone Pickens Stadium. Pittsburgh ball to open the second half, and a touchback begins. Downstairs, Clark.
Well, Jason just caught up with Pat Narduzzi, the head coach at Pitt. He knows that Oklahoma State knows that Pitt is a run-heavy offense. They're loading all the guys up in the box. Need to have Nathan Peterman extend plays with his arm and look for shots downfield from the quarterback. On the other side of the field, though, containing James Washington has been a big, big issue. They have to keep one guy on him, though, because they want to drum up some more pressure. Attacking the offense with different defensive looks for Pitt when they're on that side of the ball. Pressure, 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 and different looks. They have to get pressure on this quarterback, he said.
We'll take a look at where those blitzes come from for Pittsburgh in the second half, trying to slow Oklahoma State, as James Conner, who came back from Hodgkin's lymphoma last year, played in his first game back a couple of weeks ago, has had a nice first half for Pittsburgh and a gain of 5 to begin the second.
And the best defense against Oklahoma State offensively is to maintain possession of the ball if you're Pitt. Give the ball to Conner and let him carry the load. Possess the football. Time of possession for Pitt is their friend, to keep it away from Rudolph and Washington and a lot of other receivers for Oklahoma State that can get deep in a hurry.
Pitt first half time of possession 17:36 compared to 12:24 for Oklahoma State. Conner sneaks through a hole and puts his head down just short of the 40-yard line. It's a first down for the Pittsburgh Panthers. Moving the sticks is Jordan Stearns, the first Cowboy since 1993 with 100 tackles in back-to-back years with the stop.
And Clark talked about it. Oklahoma State is going to commit bodies to the line of scrimmage to stop the run, and Peterman's going to have to make throws in this second half.
Darren Hall up the middle. Devontae Averett with the tackle. We've already had a slower first minute and a half of our second half than we did the first half. It was 7-7 in a blink.
Yeah, no doubt. But we also see Oklahoma State's approach in the second half. And again, talking about what Clark told us, that Oklahoma State and their defensive coordinator, Glenn Spencer, they're going to commit bodies to the line of scrimmage. Because if you have a run-heavy team, you say, okay, we have to commit as many as we need to stop what you want to do.
Play action, Peterman. On the roll, Peterman has some room to roam, and he hops out of bounds at the 46 in the arms of Trey Flowers. It's third down coming up.
Execution is so important in this game, and Jordan Burton came off the edge from his strong linebacker position, but did not keep contain on Peterman. That's most likely who he had. Contain the quarterback on the move, and he didn't do it on that play.
3 out of 9, third down for Pittsburgh. Trying to maintain its tempo in this game that was a rapid-fire first half. Peterman, quick set to the outside, has a completion, and it's a first down for the Panthers. Rafael Araujo-Lopes with his first grab, try to place the injured Dantes Ford.
And not very good at playing down and distance that time defensively for Oklahoma State. Too much softness on the receivers. It was 3rd and 3, not 3rd and 7+, and just way too much softness made it really easy for Peterman to just snap it out there for a first down.
Efficient day for Nate Peterman with Pitt in plus territory. Quadri Henderson on the jet sweep and nicely diagnosed after a short gain. Henderson, the very explosive returner, cut down by Whitener.
And Whitener made a great play from his middle linebacking position, because if Henderson gets to the edge and Whitener doesn't get him, Henderson is standing in the right corner of the end zone.
Well, during the week, talking to the Pitt coaches, they said, look, it's not just the Quadri Henderson show. We have some other wide receivers we'd like to show off. Jesker Wea had a big first half. We saw Arujo Lopes with his first grab here in the second half. Connor once again, and this time he is stifled, thrown back by that defensive line, and Weber, it's third down coming up.
So if you're Pitt and you're 2nd and 9, Jason, your goal is to get 3rd and a mix down, meaning I can run it or I can throw it. If you're Oklahoma State defensively, you cannot let that happen. You need Pitt to be in 3rd and long yardage like they are now at 3rd and 10.
What does Glenn Spencer dial up here, you think?
I think you get after Peterman. You make him feel your defense in the pocket.
Third down, got to have the 37. Here comes pressure. Peterman to the sideline, incomplete. Scott Orndorff, who had a big week last week, the intended target, and it is 4th down.
Pressure works in a couple of different ways. You can get to the quarterback and affect his throw or get him to the ground, or you disrupt the timing because the quarterback has to get it out more quickly than he wanted to. Orndorff that time was running an out route, and he wasn't really ready for the football. He was also very well covered.
5th punt coming. Ryan Winslow to Jalen McCleskey, and Oklahoma State will have the ball for the first time in the second half from Bucolic Stillwater when we come back in a tight one. Pat Narduzzi through the years joined up with Mark D'Antonio at Cincinnati 2004 to 2006 and learned defense from him. Went to Michigan State, top 10 third down defense 3 years running. Then he got the job at Pittsburgh. Second season for Pat Narduzzi at 10 up and 4 down. A guy who's got a proud football history. His father was a coach as well, and he's the guy that runs this defense. Josh Conklin is the defensive coordinator, learning from Narduzzi as well, and his defense has some good field position here, Cal.
And that defense is going to be tested. Press corners. We saw the explosive plays by Oklahoma State in that first half.
Rudolph under pressure, lost the ball. It's on the ground and into the end zone. Signal touchdown. Matt Galambos picked it up, and Juan Price knocked it free. Touchdown, Pitt.
Wow, that didn't take long. This is the other part of how Pitt's defense is supposed to work. Price on the pressure, Lambo on the fumble and touchdown, but it's not only the tight coverage throwing to narrow windows on the back end, but it's also supposed to coincide with pressure on the front end. Clark told us that. Pressure, pressure, pressure. That's a good start for Pitt defensively.
Pressure from different spots, pressure from the corners. This time it was the middle linebacker, Galambos, who started all 13 last year and in fact caught a pass on a fake punt last season. He's done it with a touchdown on the second takeaway for Pitt this afternoon and blew it to tie the game. Quick turn for the Pittsburgh Panthers. They've caused a lot of turnovers already this year. 6 nationally coming in. They get one more and deadlock the game.
Gary, I am proud of you, my man. Making simple, smart cashback choices. With Quicksilver from Capital One, you're earning unlimited 1.5% cash back on every purchase everywhere. Like on that new laptop. Quicksilver keeps things simple, Gary. And smart, like you. And I like that.
I guess I am pretty smart.
Don't let that go to your head, Gary. What's in your wallet?
Hoods up, America. Today is the day. It's time for everyone to pop your hoods, to get some grease on your knuckles. This old boy could have another 100,000 miles in him. Here, buddy. And a little free time and new spark plugs will have this rocket ready for launch. Towel? So get out there and grease that, tighten this, change those. With our help, you can always fix your car with confidence. Hoods up, America.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Morning. Hey, do you know when the game starts?
11 hours?
No, Well, I'm heading back to my room.
Want to wake up at Super Bowl 51?
Super Bowl!
Enter Courtyard's Super Bowl sleepover contest at courtyard.com for your chance to win.
This man's body thinks it's dying as he doggedly consumes wings that are 60 times spicier than a jalapeno pepper. His brain is shutting things down. His eyes weep involuntarily. His breath labors. This is the essence of the masochist. To touch death, only to remind himself how alive he really is.
This place is the
He
worst.
said he had a big screen.
I can't see. I love watching football here.
Best game day ever.
Visit PepsiandTostitos.com and you could win unreal NFL experiences.
ESPN College Football, brought to you by AutoZone. Hoods up, America. Get in the zone. AutoZone.
Teach Pet Posse, the public health program on campus, promotes positive physical and mental health for students, faculty, and alumni here at Oklahoma State. Matt Galambos with the fumble recovery for the touchdown. And we are tied. A couple of big turnovers in this game created by the Pittsburgh Panthers, who had 6 in 2 games before today started. And now a 31-all tie in Stillwater.
And Price getting to the quarterback, and Galambos was there to be the benefactor of Price's sack, but not very good blocking scheme if you're Oklahoma State trying to block that guy.
Carr on the short kick from near the 5. And Carr dances across the 20 and not much more. Here's that last play.
Price is at the top, and he's just going to come off, blocked initially by Jarwin, the tight end, and that doesn't work. And so the young running back, the redshirt freshman Justice Hill, comes over and tries to help, and Price just basically takes him into the backside of Rudolph, and then the linebacker picks it up and scores a touchdown. It's tight coverage on the back end in conjunction with pressure on the front end, and when those two things work, that's the result right there.
Well, Justice Hill is back in the game, the freshman running back, and talking to Mike Yursich, Hill is a very explosive guy, but as a freshman, you try to protect him with how much you need him to do. And there we saw him in the pass block game. Now we see him in the run game as he runs into a lineman and gets maybe a half yard. Mike Caprera, the linebacker, stopped him. Second down. There's a lot more to being running back than just running the ball.
Yeah, blocking for your quarterback, and also ball security is huge.
Fake to Hill. Rudolph near side. Washington turns the corner again. There's the speed for Washington into Pitt territory to the 45 and the 44. First down, Cowboys.
Remember in the first half, we saw James Washington going vertically on Maddox. And now we're seeing him catching balls in front because of the softer coverage.
Rudolph, long ball. McCleskey, incomplete. Terrish Webb in pursuit to stop another big play.
Really nice job by Rudolph finding the one-on-one coverage. Webb was certainly beat on that play, but then you have to pay it off, and he just overthrew that one.
Mason Rudolph, who was tied for the national lead in completions in passes 20 or more yards downfield last year, has opened up the pass game in this one against Pitt. Quick hit this time. He's high once more, Kelly.
It's the sudden throws that he makes where his footwork isn't very good. There was pressure that time by James Folsom Jr. off the edge from his linebacker position, and Rudolph doesn't set his feet well. The result on the reception end is the ball is high and therefore incomplete.
Third down and a whistle before the snap. Timeout, Pittsburgh.
First timeout, the second half.
2 remaining for the Panthers. 31 all tie under 10 in the third quarter. See those green apple helmet decals, lapel pins on the coaches. They're part of the Extra Yard for Teachers initiative created by the College Football Playoff Foundation. ESPN is proud to support college football's week-long salute to teachers in their local communities throughout the country. To learn more about Extra Yard for Teachers and how it's honoring, celebrating, and inspiring these educators today, visit cfp-foundation.org. Rudolph giving ground, throws it to the sideline, and he's got a completion. Jawan Seals in space for a first down under duress in front of Lewis.
Pressure to the right. Rudolph gets rid of it in time to the left to Seals.
Rudolph the pump. On the roll. Comes this side. Washington building on 266 yards with a vengeance inside the 10 and a first and goal. Ryan Lewis missed the tackle.
Great ball placement allows Washington to make that move on Ryan Lewis.
Childs has 2 touchdowns. He's on his way to the corner. Rennie Childs is in. Touchdown Cowboys. Jawan Seals sprung him. Childs gives Oklahoma State the lead.
The Seals had a nice series. He had the edge block on that play, like you said, Jason, with Childs into the end zone, and he was also the outlet receiver on a pressure look by Pitt a couple of plays ago. Both of those were vital for Oklahoma State to get that ball in the end zone.
$1:24 on the scoring drive. Grogan for the extra point. Rennie Childs came into play today with 6 career touchdowns. He has half of that already today. His 3rd score has the Pokes in the lead again. After a difficult loss last week on a play that should not have happened, Oklahoma State has put up 38 points, leading Pitt 38-31. Thanks for joining us this afternoon from Stillwater. And Pitt, which saw Penn State come back against the Panthers in the second half last week, is now going to have to do the climbing of its own. And Pitt said during the week, Pat Narduzzi said, we were 4 or 5 plays, 1 block away from breaking out and having some big plays offensively. They'll get good field position here as the ball rolls out of bounds. And we'll get the official word.
Kickoff out of bounds. Kicking team. Ball we placed at the 35-yard line. Right hash. First down.
And now we say hi to Adnan.
Hello, Jason. The Buffalo Wild Wings wild play. When Bama's down, rely on defense. Look at Ryan Anderson bring the pain on Chad Kelly, and Alab Duran Payne capitalizes for the touchdown. Crimson Tide tying up 24 early in the 3rd. Jason, back to you.
That was a huge lead, Kelly.
Yeah, and the way you get back in it is that defense. You know, not only shutting the offense down, but how about scoring your own points? That's how they climb back in it. Not unlike Pitt just did to start this second half.
Freshman Shantez Moss gets the carry, a rare carry for him.
Well, the hard part that Pitt is trying to figure out is covering James Washington. I mean, if you get soft on him, if the quarterback, Rudolph, and Washington are on the same page, then you just throw it in front of them. And if you don't, you go over the top like this. So what's the answer? I'm not sure. Make them go the long field at least by throwing in front of you and then make a tackle.
Peterman wanted to go the other way and now chucks it out of bounds. Clark, what do you have?
Well, Kelly, during the break, I heard you, Pitt isn't used to running at this pace. The last 2 times their defense has come off the field, these guys are gassed. Oklahoma State playing really, really fast, but for their quarterback, Nathan Peterman, he's been working with the wide receivers every time he comes off the field. He thinks he can find some seams in the middle of the field with the passing game, running some slants.
Yeah, Clark, you know what the answer is their offense needs to possess this football desperately. And 3rd and 6 right here is a very, very important down in this game.
Danger of 3 and out quickly for Pitt. Peterman had some time. That went away, and he throws it out of bounds. It's incomplete. Ashton Lampkin on the coverage of Henderson, and here comes the punt team.
Very good coverage by Lampkin. Matched up, kind of a bump and run situation. on Henderson, and Henderson didn't even know that ball was coming. Peterman threw it almost like it was a back shoulder type of throw, but there was no turning around and getting the eyes on the football by Henderson.
Good kick inside the 10-yard line. And Oklahoma State will be pinned back inside the 20. Saturday night football game presented by Wells Fargo, 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific on ABC. It's Pac-12. USC and Heisman hopeful the stud Christian McCaffrey and the 7th-ranked Cardinal, also streaming live on the ESPN app and watch ESPN. Couple of big ones for the Pac-12. Cal and Texas, a Texas team that Oklahoma State will see in 2 weeks.
I don't like that game with Texas going out to the West Coast. Something seems funny about that. That might be a game to watch tonight.
For the Horns, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I fear for Texas in that game. Cal might get it together, but that's a strange trip for them to make.
Late game, change the body clock. Rudolph again high, brought in by Washington. And he's short of the 25-yard line. You've talked about the footwork all day long. How do you rectify those high throws?
It doesn't happen in the game today. You have to have better fundamentals during the week, and some habits are hard to break, and that's one of them for Rudolph.
He'll throw again, 2nd down, and he short hops it incomplete.
But just like that throw right there, Jason, it's about the suddenness of throws. When he has time and can pick out his receiver or throw a vertical pass, it doesn't come into play. It's when he gets to his 2nd and 3rd receiver and has to make a sudden throw where his feet doesn't catch up with his arm and his eyes.
Mike Yurcich told us he wanted to try and alleviate some of the pressure with the run game, but this has been all pass as Oklahoma State has gotten it back. As Rudolph to throw again, and that is way wide for Lacey, and it's 4th down.
3-4 throws in a row, and it's the front foot, it's the stride foot that doesn't strike aggressively to the ground, and so what it does is it tilts your shoulders backwards and you try to come over the top of your arm, and typically that doesn't work. The result is slightly high on the other end or slightly low if you overstride, and we're seeing it right now, all of that from Rudolph at times.
Siner had one blocked in the first half. Returnable for Quadri Henderson. There's a flag down as Henderson makes his way across the 40, and the explosive sophomore may see this come back.
During the return, holding number 11 on the return team, 10-yard penalty, 1st down.
That is a very costly penalty against the Pittsburgh Panthers.
It was Dane Jackson that is springing that initial block. You can see him right in the top of the screen, right in the middle of the screen, and it's not the initial block. That was tremendous. It's the hold. He hangs onto the jersey and takes the Oklahoma State player to the ground. That block is important because if the returner can avoid that one, typically he can get on to bigger and better things. But Henderson or Jackson, Dane Jackson, took the Cowboy to the ground there.
That's Kirk Tucker, who's down for Oklahoma State. Tonight, after Texas and Cal, we were just talking about Sports Center at night. Lisa Kearney, John Anderson, all the highlights from college football, the baseball playoff races, World Cup of hockey, NFL news, and everything else under the sun for World of Sports. Sports Center at night tonight on ESPN. Also streaming live on the ESPN app and watch ESPN. Lisa and John will have that for you. Oklahoma State leading by 7. How about this pit drive, Kelly, behind Peterman? Where do you go here?
I think you need to establish the run game to give that defense a blow on the sidelines. Clark talked about that. They're gassed. Oklahoma State accommodated them by having a 3 and out of their own, but Pitt has to possess the football right here.
Connors back in after getting a drive off. And they go with Arujo Lopes on the jet sweep. A lot of movement. And talking to Glenn Spencer, the defensive coordinator for Oklahoma State, he said, you know, even 50% of the stuff that we saw last week or that you prepare for we may not even see in this game.
From a formation standpoint, 50%, you practice forever and a day during the week, and you may not see formationally half the things that Pitt is going to do here today. That's difficult for a defense.
So it's like preparing for 2 plays on every snap from the Pittsburgh Panthers. Motion from Tipton. On the ground, Connor darting back into the middle of the field, and James Conner puts his head down and has a first down to the 48.
Jason, that's the 2-play scenario that Glenn Spencer talked about that you just said. Tipton goes on the fly sweep motion and then returns. That's 1 play. They actually give him the ball at times. So where are the eyes of the defense now? Well, if you're watching the guy that doesn't get it, then that's when James Conner gashes you between the tackles.
I mean, watching the tape from last week, there were shovel passes galore, a lot of different stuff, and it's been straight ahead runs for the most part today as Conner buries his head into a couple of linemen for a yard. Card, what do you have on James Conner?
Well, you see James Conner, I mean, he's so physical and strong, 6'2", over 230 pounds. When I talked to him this week, he actually got a scholarship from Pittsburgh as a defensive end. It wasn't until his freshman year he showed up on camp that they gave him the ball, and the rest is history. 2nd all-time in touchdowns from a career standpoint from a guy named Tony Dorsett, who owns it all.
Not bad. He's a little banged up on the sideline right now. They were checking out his left shin. You'll have to see how he's feeling over there, Clark.
26 touchdowns a couple of years ago, and there is that jet sweep. Quadri Henderson has wide open space. This is gone for a touchdown. More motion leads to a Pitt score.
Exactly what we were just talking about. It's the return motion. Henderson goes to one side, comes back, and is he getting the ball on the fly sweep, or is that all eye candy and you're going to give it to the running back? In this particular play, Henderson gets it and gashes them. Defense gets their eyes wrong. Henderson makes them pay for that.
We talked about it possibly being 2 plays. That was maybe 3 plays. He went one way, came back the other direction, and got the ball. Blew it for the extra point. And we're tied once again. 38 all, Adnan.
Okay, thank you very much. Appreciate that, Jason. I want to give you an update on Oregon and Nebraska. This was 4th and 1, and the Ducks pushing through. Benoit here. Can he Benoit? Look at those moves. He's slicing and dicing. 28-26 right after the Cornhuskers. Back to you, Jason.
And that's not the most highly thought of Oregon team in the last 10 years. They don't have those big bangers like LeGarrette Blount and the skill players maybe they've had in years past. They're still pretty good.
Not as explosive as they typically are. You're exactly right, but still Nebraska's going to have to keep up, and Nebraska is for real, I believe, this year, because Mike Riley's team resembles more of what he wants. To me, it's all about Tommy Armstrong, the quarterback, making good decisions. If he does, Nebraska's going to be a snootful in the Big 12, in the Big 10 conference.
How much is a snootful, by the way?
It's a little more than just a bit. Yeah, it'll make you uncomfortable if you have a snootful. Snootful of anything's not good, I imagine.
I have to believe that you're right there. We have a lot of points. Maybe not a snootful, but 76 so far in Stillwater. Carr has to white flag this, and he'll take a knee.
We've seen great Mason Rudolph, and we've seen things that maybe aren't so great. I mean, obviously, he's had some issues, but he's made some terrific throws vertically, typically to number 28, James Washington. One-on-one coverage, does my guy win? And if my guy wins, can I throw the right ball? Vertically, the answer most of the day has been absolutely yes, and he's been tremendous. What I'm concerned about is the adjustment defensively that Pitt has made now. Force Rudolph to throw the ball in front of us, make tackles, and make him do it all over again the next play.
Mason Rudolph came into the game with 477 yards passing on the year. He's about to duplicate that in this game. Justice Hill run down and dropped inside the 20 by Mike Caprera, the redshirt senior money linebacker.
And what first down in a negative running play means to Pitt's defense is we're going to get after your quarterback now, and can you find us? Press quarters, we're going to press your guys outside, not give any easy throws. Our safeties are tight already, and we're going to make Rudolph uncomfortable right here.
They have Lewis down at the bottom on Washington. Rudolph looks that way and too high, incomplete. Third down.
Just exactly what I was talking about, Jason. Pressure off the left side. Rudolph throws it to the right guy. Washington on the right side doesn't make the right throw once again.
They still have him in single coverage over there. Rudolph sets and lobs it. Washington is out of bounds. Pitt's defense holds here and will get the ball back for the offense.
Washington was actually making a double move on Ryan Lewis, one-on-one down at the bottom like you talked about, Jason, but Rudolph throws the ball 5 yards out of bounds. Rule number one as a quarterback, if I have a vertical route, I need to give my guy a chance, and if I'm a right-hander throwing right, it's going to spin further right. I need to give myself some room, and Rudolph didn't.
That looked more like last week's 1 for 11 on third down than this week's 6 for 11. Henderson driven all the way back and lets it bounce. Oklahoma State has neutralized one of the best returners in the country. This is a 65-yard punt for Siner, and Pittsburgh is pinned back. Talked about all the movement for Pittsburgh.
Well, it's the pre-snap movement, and Henderson is going to go what's called return motion. You fake motion to one side, and then you return. Is Henderson getting the ball, or in the end, is this just going to be a zone play up the middle? And in this case, it's a zone play up the middle to Connor. Actually, they give it that time, I'm sorry, to Henderson. But many times it's zone play up the middle. So where are the eyes of the defense? And in the end, that was a great play and a big play to Henderson.
Jet sweep again. Arujo Lopes stacked up this time. It was interesting talking to Glenn Spencer, the defensive coordinator for Oklahoma State, and he mentioned the genesis of a lot of this motion maybe dates back to Jim Groban, Wake Forest.
Yeah, they came up with some ways to win by gaining an advantage before the snap, typically with athletes that didn't match the other side of the ball. At Wake Forest, that's typically the case. And so, yeah, a lot of this stuff was invented back then, and it's working well for Pitt here today.
Under 4 to play, third quarter. More motion from Henderson. They give it to him. That's the same play, and it's the same result, at least in a big gash. Lindsey Pipkins chopped him down at the 35. It's a gain of 20.
Same play. You're exactly right. Fly sweep coupled with the zone run by the running back. Who's going to get it? In this case, Henderson gets it, and Chad Whitener, the linebacker, didn't know who had the ball. That's called having your eyes exactly wrong as a defender, and you get gashed by Henderson, number 10.
You talked about it during the week, playing the run responsibly for Oklahoma State. As that time, Connor stuffed by Jarrell Owens, the redshirt sophomore. Second down. What do you need from a linebacker in that situation?
You just have to maintain gap integrity. You can't lose, you can't lose gap integrity by your eyes coming off your gap because of all the eye candy. So Whitener second-guessed himself on that play we just saw. He was in position, but his eyes took him somewhere else. Trust what your coaches told you and maintain run fit.
Second down, 9 officially. This time they do give it to the running back. Connor turning his back, and he's got not a whole lot of anything. It's third down and 9 as Vincent Taylor got in the way.
Yeah, Jason, the other part of that explanation, and we'll use Chad Whitener, he's a fine player, but he was away from the running back anyway. He wasn't going to make the play on the running back. His role was to stay home, and he would have been right in the gap in which Henderson ended up getting the ball and running for a big play.
Chad Whitener, who famously was sitting in the end zone for minutes after that game last week and the crushing loss to Central Michigan. Third down for Peterman in the offense, and a whistle and a false start coming.
False start. Number 85, offense. 5-yard penalty. 3rd down.
It's on the wide receiver, Jester Weah.
Inexcusable. You're 3rd and 9 anyway. That's a throwing down, and now you're 3rd and 14. We talked about this at the top. Peterman has to make hay and down in distances just like this. It's not who Pitt wants to be as a whole. Their idea is a physical run, but when you get behind and you need a play, Peterman needs to show up, go through progression, and find the right guy.
With Dantes Ford, the senior, out with a collarbone injury, they will run it on 3rd and long, and James Conner dives short of the 40-yard line. A conservative call from offensive coordinator Matt Canada in his first season, and it's 4th down.
I think that call was made by Pat Narduzzi as much as Matt Canada. That call ties in with what Pitt is doing defensively, Jason. Right now his defense is playing pretty well the last few series. Punt the ball away, don't give it up, the ball up for grabs, and try to flip the field.
Winslow, who's long coming in, was 53, and McCleskey pounces on it around the 25-yard line. So that's where Oklahoma State will take over with under a minute to go in quarter number 3. Mason Rudolph had first half, second half splits that were really skewed last week, and today not big numbers so far in the second half again.
Yeah, very slow start, and it's some about the adjustment that Pitt has made defensively, not unlike the adjustments that Central Michigan made a week ago defensively. It's about the footwork to me. It's a different kind of throw that Pitt's defense is asking him to make in the second half, and he's been inconsistent at best in doing that.
Pitt corners backing off on 1st down, looking for McCleskey, and that might have been miscommunication on the play. 2nd down.
I think it's a bad throw.
Yeah.
I think McCleskey is in the window. Rudolph got a little antsy, and the ball ended up high once again. It's those sudden throws, and what I mean by sudden is you don't have a built-in read that you know you're going to set your feet and throw the ball. You have to maybe reset your feet and throw the ball suddenly, and his feet aren't catching up with his eyes and his arm.
2nd down, run it. Rennie Childs has some space, and Childs down to the 35-yard line, a favorable spot. 1st down, Oklahoma State, as Whitehead, the sophomore, chopped him down. Rudolph off his back foot, sideline, and incomplete. There's a flag in there. It's Ryan Lewis tangled with Seals.
And Lewis once again panicked on the man-to-man press coverage. He was in good position, and he panicked at the end, and I think he grabbed Seals right at the top of that route.
Defense, number 38. 15-yard penalty, automatic 1st down.
You might be sitting at home saying, well, can Pitt not deal with the tempo well? They're used to this. They're ready to read fast. That was just interference on Lewis.
And I actually think that was a horrendous call. I don't see pass interference there at all. Any jostling that was being done was being initiated by Jawan Seals. That was a poor call on the field, and actually really nice coverage by Ryan Lewis.
Rennie Childs has had himself a whale of a game, 3 touchdowns, and he crashes for about 1.5 yards. Shakir Soto with the stop. Senior out of Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania. It's a Pennsylvania heavy team for Pittsburgh. Rudolph again, lengthy throw, a lot of green there, and this is caught by Chris Lacey down to the ground. And 3rd down on the way.
Really nice catch by Chris Lacey. I didn't actually think he caught this ball and got his hands under it. I think that ball hit the ground.
Now incomplete. They've changed the ruling on the field. Incomplete.
Order. Please put 5 seconds.
And that's the end of quarter number 3.
Please put 5 seconds.
Mike Gundy said he couldn't go to bed. He shot skeet until after dark last week after the Central Michigan game. It's another tense one in Stillwater.
third quarter.
Here in Stillwater, there's going to be an untimed down. Stop me if you've heard that before.
Actually, it's 5 seconds back on the clock because of that incomplete pass.
So 5 seconds on the clock. Rennie Childs, the running back, on 3rd down and 8. Rudolph couldn't get out of the pressure. It's Mike Caprera, the linebacker, and that will do it for quarter number 3. Pitt likely to get it back. 76 points on the board, and it's not going to be enough. 38 all after 3. First meeting all time. They'll be talking about it for a while. Pittsburgh and Oklahoma State deadlocked at 38. Thanks for joining us this Saturday. Paul Carcaterra is down at the sideline with Kelly Stauffer, Jason Benetti, our entire crew from Stillwater, Oklahoma. And it's punt time for Zach Seiner. It's a high snap. And Quadri Henderson down to his backside to make the catch at 13.
And here's the trouble with defending Pitt's run game. Quadri Henderson is going to go what they call return motion. Go to one side, come back to the other side. Chad Whitener is the guy that's in a bind. He has to close off the potential cutback lane by the running back, but he also has to be in the gap if Henderson gets the ball, and indeed Henderson did. That's the quandary that Pitt's pre-snap minutia does to the eyes of the defense.
That's a quandary with Quadri.
Yes, that's exactly where I was going with that, by the way.
Cramping up right now, and you certainly aren't. Adnan, please save me from this.
Jason, I love the quandary conversation. Speaking of, it's Bama and Ole Miss. This is Chad Kelly airing it out to DeMaurier Stringfellow, and they couldn't punch it in from like the half-yard line. Instead, they settled for a field goal, but it's tied up at 27, late third. Bama, Ole Miss. Jason.
We've got quagmires and quandaries and all kinds of stuff for you, Adnan. Thank you for the updates. Some great stuff going on around college football this weekend as Henderson comes off the field. 38 all, and if you missed the first play from scrimmage, you missed the first touchdown. It was a 91-yard throw from Mason Rudolph to James Washington, and off we went downhill from there offensively, and the ball keeps rolling down the hill. Nate Peterman leads the offense out and goes with that receiver action again all the way to the 30-yard line. Jordan Whitehead, one of the co-rookies of the year in the ACC. They have some plays in for the safety.
How difficult is this? Whitehead is going to get it on the reverse. The offensive linemen are blocking zone run up inside the tackle box. The defenders have to wonder if the reverse is coming. Just another wrinkle in this pre-snap movie that the defense always has to be concerned about with Pitt.
They laughed, they cried. Arujo Lopez is drilled at the 34 by Flowers. Clark.
Well, Kelly, you were mentioning the pre-snap minutia, and that's exactly what the message is defensively for Oklahoma State. The double motions and the jets out of those formations, they've been burned twice, including the Henderson TD. The message to this defense consistently, stay home.
Amen to that. The play we showed with Chad Whitener, stay home. He was in the right place. His eyes got him in the wrong place.
Oklahoma State still has yet to create a turnover as well. A very opportunistic defense. Hasn't done that so far today as Moss gets pinballed around by Stearns and Devontae Averett. It's 3rd down and a couple. They were 10th nationally in turnover margin coming in. The Cowboys, they've got none of that today.
And what goes along with Pat Narduzzi's program is his defensive play mirrors what he wants on the offensive side, and then they secure the football. They don't put it in harm's way very much. Ball security with runners, and passers don't throw it to the wrong guys very much.
3rd down and 3 for this low-risk offense. Peterman on the roll, has 2 receivers in the area, and it is incomplete. Trey Flowers, the redshirt junior whose uncle was an NFL player, makes the stop on the pass. 4th down.
And a prototypical route out of play action boot. Fake to the running back, and Peterman gets outside, and it's just a two-man route. Tight end's going to the corner, and then you have a receiver dragging all the way across the field. And Flowers breaks up the play right at the end. Very well defended.
Punt number 8 coming. Ryan Winslow with 11 in the first 2 weeks and wins over Villanova and Penn State. Getting some overtime work this afternoon and evening in Stillwater. McCleskey waves for it. And at the 15-yard line, the Cowboys in orange will take off. Stillwater, Oklahoma, the site of some great college football last 2 weeks.
I'm Adnan Burke. Hope you're enjoying our coverage of college football. Due to time constraints, we now move ahead in the action.
On first down, Henderson in motion. Connor picking his spot. He hits the gas pedal. Connor pinballing around, and James Connor, a huge run across the 30-yard line. He gets 21, and when you think about where he's come from, this kid is tough.
Tremendous story, and Clark just talked about it with Connor a little bit dinged up. My question was going to be, who is going to close this out for Pitt? He's their most dependable guy by far carrying the football, and they certainly need him on this drive, as we just saw right there.
He's over 100 yards, 22 carries for $116 in his third game back from chemotherapy and Hodgkin's lymphoma. Henderson gets a big block out front and ends up out of bounds. That was George Aston leading the way, and a nice run from Henderson.
Zone run right down Main Street by Connor, followed with the fly sweep motion once again. Connor is still presenting the zone run inside, and all of a sudden it's a quick snap and you give it to a quick receiver, Henderson, around the edge.
Connor out, Darren Hall is in, the sophomore tailback. And he gets the ball, finding a crease across the 45 and hit by Jordan Stern. Pitt doing what the Panthers like to, leading the clock down, Kel.
Their offensive approach is tailor-made for this situation. Just went under 4 minutes. You have the football. You can maintain it. And Rudolph and James for Oklahoma State don't get the ball back, and you have a chance to go down and get what potentially could be the game-winning points.
After last week's difficult, controversial loss for Oklahoma State, another anxiety-riddled game. Connor off the hesitation, tried to find the other door, and down he goes. Devontae Averett, the redshirt senior, with a nice play. How about the offenses today? Over 1,000 total yards. We're tied. Maybe next score wins.
And if you would have talked about that kind of offensive yardage, I would have said that Oklahoma State ran away and hid from Pitt in this game. But Pitt has been able to hang on and weather the storm thus far, and now we're in a really good position.
Big formation, 3rd down and 4. Connor trying to get to the outside, and he is snowed under by a sea of orange. Jordan Burton.
Jason, you said it. There was a huge formation. Multiple extra linemen to the left side. I don't mind the formation, but I want a quicker hitting play if I'm going to that side. The defense knows that potentially, and most likely you're going there. That athleticism and quickness that Oklahoma State has up front showed up on that play.
Winslow on to punt again. Moving toward 2 minutes. McCleskey on the approach, and Oklahoma State will have decent field position if the flag matters. We'll find out.
During the kick, holding number 80 on the return team. 10-yard penalty, first down.
It's on Dylan Stoner and Mason Rudolph, who had a great first half and not so great second half. Tries to lead this offense down the field with 2:07. This is Hill, and the run games have not created much. Shakir Soto back in, made the stop. It's second down. Moving under 2 minutes. 3 timeouts for Oklahoma State. Overtime possibly looming. Rudolph down the sideline, open man, Jawan Seals into Pitt territory. Seals down the sideline, out of bounds at the 1.
Really just dropped coverage. Avonte Maddox was on the cover initially, and then Parrish Webb came in and made the tackle on Seals, but Maddox literally just fell down.
Review.
Question is, was Seals out of bounds? Did he score? It's an 86-yard play currently. And Mason Rudolph has set a school record with 540 through the air. Let's see. Kelly, I think he was out at the 1.5.
Yeah, I think it's out at the 1 to 1.5. You're right. I think that foot came down on the white, and the ball is about at the 1 yard line. I think that's going to be marked at the 1. It's not. It's where the ball is when the first point touches
Ruling
out
on
of
the
bounds.
field is confirmed. Ball carrier stepped out of bounds when the ball was over the 1 yard line. First and goal at the 1 yard line.
Hey, partner, you said 1.5, right? I think I said 1.
Round down.
I think I win that one.
So now for Oklahoma State, do you go in right now, or do you try to force the timeout usage by Pitt?
No, you want points ASAP. I think that's the #1 goal, is you want points, and at the very least you force Pitt to do something that they're not really built to do, which is drive the football, throwing it, getting it back. So whatever you have to do, Oklahoma State, to get this ball into the end zone is exactly your approach. They have big personnel in right now.
Full backfield for Rudolph. Counter action. Child scores again. Touchdown number 4 for Rennie Childs.
Oklahoma State goes into what they call their diamond formation, which is a running back ended up offset next to Rudolph, and then 2 tight end type bodies in the backfield with them. A little misdirection, and then Childs pays it off again.
It's Rory Blair that's down for Pittsburgh, the junior defensive end. And now we're in a situation again where Oklahoma State is playing a close one in the final 90 seconds, and we'll see if there are lingering effects from last week's loss, the controversial loss to Central Michigan that should not have been. Rogan for the extra point. And it's good.
I'm Adnan Burke. Hope you're enjoying our coverage of college football. Due to time constraints, we now move ahead in the action.
Peterman, incomplete. He wanted Orndorff. And now time and the down markers are both evils to Pitt.
3 deep, 5 underneath, and you're forcing Peterman to try to find an open guy when Scott Warendorf was the tight end that was trying to find some separation, and there just simply wasn't any. This is where you really miss Dantes Ford.
This is the game for the Pitt Panthers out of the ACC. Peterman. Diving try, and it is caught. Trey Tipton saves the day for the Panthers. Peterman to throw. First down. Down the middle. Short gain to the 39-yard line. Quadri Olesen.
You have to burn your last time out, right? Yeah, Pitt just did it.
There it is. You almost feel for the locals here as we step by step move toward yet another Hail Mary at Boone Pickens Stadium.
Yeah, now you're getting into the kind of territory where you can start running some seam type of things, where you get all goes up in different seams in a 3D zone defense. Peterman has to look off a safety and try to drive a throw in at about 20 to 25 yards. Kind of what you're looking at right now.
An Oklahoma State team that's been very opportunistic would give the world for a turnover right now. Peterman launches. This is caught. Tipton, as you said, worked the seam, middle of the field, first down to the 45. Spike, 22 seconds left. This is playable for Pittsburgh.
Yeah, they're in that crossing the 50 now, where there are a lot of things that are available out there if you can find them. That pass to Tipton, Orndorff, the tight end, cleared out up the seam, and then Tipton came into that void left by the coverage going with the big tight end.
Second down, Peterman goes through his progressions. It is intercepted, picked off by Ramon Richards, who thought he sealed the game last week. He just did this week. That's a lot of layered emotion pouring out in Stillwater.
You just talked about the takeaways that Oklahoma State's defense under Glenn Spencer has the reputation of getting, and they finally come up with one here, and it's a big one.
First turnover of the day for Oklahoma State is the game winner as the clock moves down to 0 and nary a flag on the field. The Oklahoma State Cowboys with a late touchdown win it 45-38.